quick as they can. They've done a great job, actually, to get that straight out of the way. So hopefully we don't get another delayed start. There we go then, as we get underway for this race. The flag flies and we are on the way. It was the Fraser-Nash on pole, and it was a tight start for both the Fraser-Nash, the ERA A-Type, and the BRM, but the BRM has fallen back and sweeping into the lead. I think that was the ERA A-Type with Mark Gillies, who is out in front as they make their way through Madrick, round the right-hander, and on their way, falling back into second is the Fraser-Nash of Pat Blakeney-Edwards.
OK, just remember this, at this point between Madrick and Ford Water, the BRM is down in 5th place with Rob Hall at the wheel. Let's see how he can do, but that was a sensational start from Mark Gillies. He knows R38 so well. He drives it supremely. Fantastic in the wet yesterday. So much depth technique. He outed up into 3rd place, tucked in behind David Morris, the silver ERA, and then now really starting to get up to speed at St Mary's is the BRM of Rob Hall. But what a start from Mark Gillies.
Good start further back as well from Ben Fiddler in the ERA D-Type, who's just behind Rob Hall's BRM Type 15 now in the all-black 44 car. Started from 10th and it's just up behind now. But it was a superb start from Mark Gillies in the ERA A-Type R3A, a 4-time winner here. That 3rd ERA ever built, currently leading the way from Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the Fraser-Nash as they finally get this race underway. 20 minutes on the clock, already down to just over 18.5 minutes.
Pressing on actually since as we come towards the end of the opening lap that Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the Fraser-Nash is starting to close in on our race leader Mark Gillies. But what a start from Gillies. He really knew how to hook it up. He could teach Lando Norris a second or two off the line.
He's coat catching in the Fraser-Nash, absolutely threading the needle through the final chicane. I think Pat Blakeney-Edwards is going to will he get side by side as they come across the start-finish straight to start another lap. Moves slightly to the middle of the road, trying to sense where that Fraser-Nash is as the BRM, which started 3rd at the wheel, the wheel in the hands of Rob Hall, is now trying to make up some moves. Started 3rd, has fallen behind, but Pat Blakeney-Edwards up front in that battle for the lead is tucked right behind the Mark Gillies ERA.
Yeah, they're really pulling clear, and Rob Hall has picked off one person. David Morris is now behind him, down in 5th place in the silver ERA. Next target is the outer, the distinctive-looking outer that is going very nicely at the moment, up from 4th to 3rd for Ian Baxter. But for how long? Because Rob Hall is hungry. He's got lots of horsepower, 600 plus horsepower. The little figure I want to drop in again, more than 30,000 parts were required to rebuild this V16.
This is a nice little battle, actually, that's playing out for us. Heading away in 3rd is that Alpha 61, Ian Baxter, the 2023 winner here, who's just keeping ahead of the BRM, but actually it's a bit of a bad exit for the BRM of Rob Hall, who's going to get side by side and try and line a way through. Going to have to defend, but they've allowed the Alta to escape up the road a bit. The BRM lives to fight another day on that occasion, keeping ahead. And Ben Fiddler was involved in that, but I think he's just fallen back slightly now into 6th, a couple of seconds away. So a nice battle developing for 3rd as the battle continues for the lead. It's Mark Gillies leading away in the ERA A-Type, but that Fraser-Nash of Pat Blakeney-Edwards is right behind him and not going anywhere.
Yeah, every time out, or each time out of the chicane so far, Pat Blakeney-Edwards has got a better exit, but then got it in a straight line. Mark Gillies has a bit more punch and pulls way down the start and finish straight. It's only going to be a 20-minute race, but we've got 16.5 minutes remaining. It's going to be a battle royale between the first two. The big question is, can Rob Hall not make another mistake? Can he catch up? Can he pass the outer? Because I think if he can get up past it, he'll then start to go off after the first two cars.
Rob Hall hasn't been really able to shake David Morris, though. It's the ERA B-Type, which is behind him, which almost got alongside and through after that mistake from Rob Hall last lap around in that battle over 4th, and in doing so they've allowed Ian Baxter in the Alta to get a little further up the road. 4/10 of a second though split the top two. It is coming down. Mark Gillies leads after 2 laps from Pat Blakeney-Edwards. It's reverse from how it was on the grid. The Fraser-Nash not getting the best of starts.
But there are scraps all down the field. Right now we're looking at 2 blue ERAs, number 4 and 7. That's Nick Topless in the number 4, and right behind Pat Dowling in the X-Sprint Vera. Remus car has had so much success here since the revival kicked off in 1998.
Yeah, currently Topless ahead in that battle in 7th, Dowling in 8th. They both dropped a position from where they started on the grid, and we did see, just to check if we did indeed get Michael Birch underway from the pit lane as well. We did indeed, and he's up to 18th already, so a decent start from Michael Birch in the Maserati.
And he's considerably faster than a group of cars ahead of him. In fact, he's good for a mid-grid position if he can keep working his way forward. But look, a bit further down the order, there is plenty of action. Talbot right in the middle of it with the Maseratis as well, and everyone having a really good fun run. And after the rain of yesterday, it's a delight for these drivers to be on something with a little bit more grip.
I think absolutely, as we go side by side. Here we go, the outer in green, the 61 of Ian Baxter, trying to keep Rob Hall at bay in the BRM, but after a couple of laps, finally, Hall is able to make his way through, recovering from a poor start, started in third, now has managed to get back up into that position after a great battle with the outer, which has now fallen behind. It does have to be careful here, because the other, well, the ERA, I believe, is behind of David Morris, the B-type, the silver car just behind, is still keeping tabs on them, but not the best exit there from Rob Hall. A little bit of smoke coming out of the exhaust as he makes his way up the hill, then through the right-hander, changing through the gears.
It's been smoking since the start of the race, and Rob is constantly looking down at the gauges, so let's hope there isn't a period-type problem. But Mark Gillies was 2 seconds clear at the start of the lap. We're looking at the second place, Fraser Nash and Pat Blakeney-Edwards more than 2 seconds back, but what we had in that battle for third place, isn't it great? Hanging it out, and yesterday in the rain, the tail was coming a lot further round, but that's how you need to drive these cars. But it's been a very, very good lap for Mark Gillies. He's absolutely doubled, maybe trebled that advantage. No, I reckon he's probably 4 seconds clear, 2 seconds last time. 1, 2, 3, let's wait and see what it is this time. 3.9, we'll call it 4.
Yeah, really managing to extend that lap. 1:32.754 is what he did it in as we come across the line then after 4 laps of racing for the first race of the day here at the Goodwood Revival, the Goodwood Trophy.
Just to give you a guide how wet it was yesterday, pole position was 28 seconds slower than now, and Rob Hall has suddenly, no, it's a transponder problem, he's staying in third place, timing screens, they can trick you in the commentary box. But it is smoking. The BRM is smoking. That is a period, attention to period detail, of course.
Absolutely it is. But across the line then after 4 laps of racing and with just under 13 minutes remaining, Mark Gillies, who having had a bit of pressure from the Fraser Nash and Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the first couple of laps, has now managed to extend his lead in the ERA A-Type R3A. 4-time winner around here. Of course, that's the third ERA built, a 2-litre engine. Built for hill climbing initially, so far showcasing well, but as we say, battles up and down the field, and currently raging on at the moment. That looked like, I think it was Duncan Ricketts in the Parnell Challenger was having a nice battle further back for 9th against the Brad Baker ERA B-Type as we get a spin, and it is indeed Duncan Ricketts fighting it out on track with a wheel onto the grass, finds his way spinning round, but thankfully spins back round in the right direction and is back on his way again.
No, that got there down to driver skill, just ran a little bit wide. 360 good, 720, well, a bit more stylish, but 720 means you're pointing in the right direction so you can head off on your way. So real shame there, Duncan Ricketts pressing on to that 1939 Parnell Challenger, great looking car, but he didn't really want to see the St Mary's commentary car twice on his way round.
Yeah, Duncan Ricketts, who started down in 11th, has now fallen all the way, well, quite far away back. We'll see where he pops up on the timing screen. Extending his lead out front now to 7.5 seconds is Mark Gillies in the ERA A-Type, leading from Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the Fraser Nash. They're your leaders. Then comes this rather lovely battle here. Currently in third spot is Rob Hall. As we get a little look at that spin, just running out wide there, Bruce.
Yeah, but a very, very good avoidance from number 8 ERA with Brad Baker on board, because suddenly he saw a car sideways in front of him at the track, but it's by the smallest of margins that right rear wheel just kissed the grass, but that was a really, really good rescue. The track is dry today, but the grass is still very wet indeed, so there would have been absolutely no grip whatsoever. But again, he knew which way the circuit pointed, so good save. One thing I've done, he's still going very well now, but one car that is starting to lose its pace is the car in second place, because Mark Gillies, we're looking at him in R3A, the ERA R3A, is now 7.5, going on 8 seconds clear. Pat Blakeney-Edwards is not as quick as his chasers, who've still got the classic scrap for third place, but Mark Gillies, an exemplary run, he's almost at the halfway point in the race. If it was 7.5 seconds on the start-finish line last time around, I just want to see if Pat Blakeney-Edwards had a second slowish lap in a row. There is some traffic they're overtaking. Car 21 is Pat Blakeney-Edwards, just the back of the screen, and then there's still this fantastic battle, David Morris and behind him, number 5 behind him. That's the point now. Is Rob Hall smoking more and more. It's now 8.5 second lead, so a better lap from Pat Blakeney-Edwards in second place. But what was the lap speed? 1 minute 38. Yeah, about 2.5 seconds off his previous pace for Rob Hall. Halfway point in the race, and the BRM started third, went down to 5th, is back down to 5th again now. The Alta has come through back into 3rd place. David Morris in his ERA has got up into 4th place, and every gear change is a bit more of a puff of the smoke out of the back of the BRM.
Yeah, that BRM that we're looking at the moment, just losing 2 places in the space of a lap, now finds itself behind David Morris's ERA B-type, which is now up into 4th, and now back up into 3rd, the 2023 winner, Ian Baxter, at the wheel of the Alta 61. 8.5 seconds now is the gap out front between Mark Gillies and Pat Blakeney-Edwards, but still is smoking that BRM down in 5th now with Rob Hall, but he's still giving it absolutely everything on the steering wheel. And well, how much of a gap has he got to the car behind of Fiddler? Just about 5 seconds between him and the ERA D-type behind, so it will be a good indication to see if that ERA D-type of Ben Fiddler can catch up quite quickly. Perhaps an indicator of if there is a bigger issue on board Rob Hall's BRM as he tries to hold on to a top 5 position, having started in 3rd. Across the line then for another lap, over halfway distance now. Mark Gillies leading the way, and well, wait and see. He's really starting to pull ahead now, Pat Blakeney-Edwards.
Yeah, he really is. But what we had, the best lap of the race was set the previous time around by Mark Gillies, 1 minute 32.7. This last lap was almost bang on 4 seconds slower. You can see Mark looking down in the cockpit, but he's also knows he's got that very tiny advantage over Pat Blakeney-Edwards, and you do have to nurse cars of this vintage, but you know, Mark will be completely receptive to every signal he's getting from the car, and he's acting accordingly. He's responding to that. Oh, definitely. Rob Hall is going back. Fiddler is getting closer and closer in car number 44, the ERA, and he's got a gang of the cars right on his tail as well, because Paddins Dowling is tucked in behind him. That's yet another ERA. It's the most famous of the lot. It's car number 7 with the flag of Siam on the tail. Prince Beera's old car having a fantastic scrap.
Yeah, Ben Fiddler, who is just heading this battle here in the 44. That's the ERA D-type, is closing. That gap was much larger than it was a lap ago. 4.2 seconds between him and the car in front, the BRM of Rob Hall. So even though Fiddler is fighting with the cars behind, they're still gaining time on Hall ahead.
Now, it might have been a trick of my eyes, but I thought I saw the Alta starting to slow. Ian Baxter was going really well. It just got up into that 3rd position, waiting for the next timing sector. No, he's okay. It was clearly a trick of my eye. He's still holding down 3rd place. He should be closing bit by bit on Pat Blakeney-Edwards, but really the real dicing is just in the bottom half of the top 10. We're looking at that right now. Car number 4, Nick Tompkins, coming through the shot in 8th place. Then up front, David Morris, I think, is now starting to close in. We've got the wave blue flags, been faster cars coming through. Drivers adhering very well indeed, with Ben Fiddler threading his way through the chicane, pressed all the way by Paddins Dowling. Quite a few cars now starting to smoke a little bit.
There is Rob Hall, who is really now slowing and struggling to stay with the cars ahead, and is falling into the clutches of that car there, making its way through your screen at the moment. That is Ben Fiddler in the ERA D-type, who just gets past a little bit of traffic there on his way to hunting down the BRM in front of him, which started in 3rd and is struggling now down to 5th. There is Fiddler in 6th, and not far behind, he's bringing along that ex-Prince Beera car of Paddins Dowling's, the ERA B-type, is just in the background of the shot.
Now, it's such an exciting moment when a car that was way ahead of you is suddenly almost in your path, and you've become the hunter. You get closing, and you've got a battle. You've got someone right on your tail, and that's Paddins Dowling. But right now, Ben Fiddler, all eyes ahead. And look, Rob Hall still looking down in the cockpit, and I think he will see defeat if he feels there is no chance of hanging on. He's been racing long enough. He's receptive to what his car is doing, trying to keep out of the way. Quite difficult between the first part of lap and the second, but both Fiddler and Dowling up 1 position to 5th and 6th, respectively.
I think he's in limp home mode now, isn't he? That BRM losing 2 positions then. So through goes Ben Fiddler in the ERA D-type. That is now up and through into 4th position, and then and Hall now actually looking behind him again, because it's Nicholas Topless who will be the next car to try and make his way through in the ERA A-type. So such a shame for Rob Hall and that BRM after a brilliant qualifying yesterday, and couple of false starts for this race, but as we are now in the closing stage of the last 5 or so minutes, it will be a battle to try and just hold on for that BRM. Looks down at some of the gauges in his cockpit as well.
Well, I tell you what, people sitting in the grandstands and all around the circuit will hear the problem. He's got a massive misfire on the V16. Maybe it's a V13 at the moment, who knows, but it's certainly not performing as he would want. But Rob will feel if there's any real problem happening, he'll pull that off the circuit. There's no point pressing on in such an outstanding, amazing car.
Yeah, as you can see, he's looking down at possibly the gear shifter and the gauges there. So just trying to keep a hold of that BRM Type 15 Mark 1. When firing on all cylinders, over 600 horsepower for 1.5 litres. A car that really is a testament to British engineering and all about what we're celebrating here in this Goodwood Trophy as we race Grand Prix cars, historic racing cars from the 1930 all the way through to 1951.
Well, David Morris, we've just been looking at him pressing on. He's not quite catching the third place out of Ian Baxter, but it's still second place for Pat Blakeney-Edwards. The last few laps, he has matched the pace of the race leader, Mark Gillies, in R3A, the stunning ERA, literally to the 10th of a second, but he's 8.5 seconds down. Now here's Baxter. This has been a really, really good lap. He's the one actually catching Pat Blakeney-Edwards. There's a Talbot between them. That will stay out of the way. That's the pale blue car. That should stay over to driver's left as they approach Madgwick. But to the outer, the tall green car will slash by on the inside. This was last year's winner, but this year he's got to hold up his hand and say there was nothing we could do about Mark Gillies. And again, that wonderful rear shot. So, in fact, last lap, the fastest car on the track was Mark Gillies, but a 10th of a second slow was the car in third place. This was a car I worried I'd seen going slowly. Trick of the light. Let's leave it at that. But he's certainly going very well indeed. And what's the gap to the car in second place? Pat Blakeney-Edwards in the Fraser Nash, just 2.1 seconds in front. This could change.
It could change with just over 3 minutes remaining. At the moment, it is Mark Gillies in that ERA A-Type R3A, which currently leads the way. That gap has come down over 5 seconds. That has come down in the last lap or so. It was. Last time I looked at the timing screen, it was about 7 seconds. Then it was stayed about 8 seconds for quite a while. So is Pat Blakeney-Edwards here coming back at Mark Gillies in the last few minutes of this race? Could it be ERA versus Fraser Nash to the flag? Is there an issue on board the ERA A-Type of Mark Gillies? Little shake of the head, Bruce?
No, Mark knows what he's doing. Oh, let's hope it doesn't expire now. He will have been looking at his pit board every lap he's come around. He just thought 8 seconds with a few laps to go, that's fine. Hand up, that's a little bit of frustration. He's got caught up behind John Gillette's MG, but he's got that margin. That should be enough. What's left on the clock? Enough for 2 more laps.
Yeah, wasn't happy with that. Did rather get a little bit forward coming through the chicane. Then now they are in the same shot. You can see the Fraser Nash, which is actually now falling back because
just been passed.
For second, it's Ian Baxter through in the outer. Baxter has been showing pace the last couple of laps and is eyeing up a move and has made the move into second. Can the Fraser Nash and Pat Blakeney-Edwards fight back? Was he caught a little bit by surprise? But Blakeney-Edwards was making gains, but not as big as Baxter was. 3 seconds now the gap between first and second.
Look, in the opening laps of the race, Harry, we saw Pat Blakeney-Edwards supreme coming out of the chicane. Every time he was better than Mark Gillies, but once the cars got their head, Mark Gillies pulled away in ERA R3A. But clearly more grunt coming for the outer there out of the chicane. He was 59 thousandths of a second behind when they crossed the start-finish line, but he's pulled clear. That was a very, very positive manoeuvre, and of course they were doing a bit of lapping as well, so the cars to get through. But what have we got left? 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. The Alto, this is last year's winning car, pushing on, and the Pat Blakeney-Edwards has no reply.
Mark Gillies still with the advantage, though, of 3 seconds and just over a minute remaining of this 20-minute race. It's the ERA A-Type out in front now in Baxter's Alta 61 in second, and then comes the Fraser Nash of Pat Blakeney-Edwards in third, and then it's a bit further of the gap down to Morris in the other ERA B-Type. But we'll get another lap around as he comes through the chicane, Mark Gillies, and so too then does Ian Baxter. It will have to be done on the last lap as Michael Birch in the Maserati just gets nicely out of the way and pulls over the right-hand side of the screen.
Again, Mark Gillies going onto this final lap. As he was approaching Woodcote for the penultimate time, he'd be looking to see what's up ahead, but Michael Burke made it absolutely clear which side he was going to go to. It's down to just under a second, and the pace is coming, it's coming. Here comes the green Alta chasing the green ERA, but it's Mark Gillies leading the way in R3A. But last year's winner, what, 5 laps ago, he was completely out of the picture. Now he's dominating the picture.
He's made up about 3 seconds in the space of a lap, has Ian Baxter. When he started the penultimate lap, he was 3 seconds back, and now he's within a second and close enough to try and start applying the pressure to Mark Gillies' ERA in front of him. It's ERA versus Alta in the first race to kick off Saturday's Goodwood Revival, and we are being treated to an absolute thriller. This is going to go down to the wire. Can Mark Gillies hold on here? A 4-time winner. He's just got a few more corners left, but Ian Baxter in the Alta is going to push him all the way to the flag.
Now, if there were no problems with the car and Mark had simply backed off to because he was comfortable in the lead, now he's far from comfortable, hot under the collar. The Alta sweeps past, but can they get the braking done when they get down to Woodcote? And Gillies, well, let's just judge which of those green cars puts the brakes on first. Even Stevens, in fact, Gillies is later on the brake, going up the inside. Is there an inside? The answer is no, covered off by last year's winner. I thought he didn't have a hope in hell. However, what a drive. They're coming through. Ian Baxter, Mark Gillies did not have any tricks left in his hand.
Into the lead then on the final lap goes Ian Baxter in the Alta 61, who will cross the line and see the checkered flag first. Race 1 on Saturday of the Goodwood Revival. The Goodwood Trophy goes to Ian Baxter's Alta 61. That was a magnificent drive, a magnificent win for last year's winner, who does it again. Mark Gillies just has to settle, having led the majority of this race in his ERA A-type, will have to settle for second. The gap in the end just over half a second, and the Fraser Nash that started on pole, the monoposto, the single-seater with Pat Blakeney-Edwards at the wheel, will get the final spot on the podium. But my oh my, that was a wonderful race.